Welcome to another edition of 805 Sports Talk. It's just me and Elliott Stern today, but we're planning on bringing you a big show. And on Tuesday, I had the honor of seeing Brent Dionisio, a standout Hancock high jumper, a Pioneer Valley grad. He signed to jump for New Mexico. It was great to see him, work so hard and get that opportunity to compete at the Division I level. We've been following him since he was at Pioneer Valley. He hit a 6'8" in high school, which is a great mark, and he topped out nearly at 7 feet at Hancock. Talking to him yesterday, he hopes to eventually clear that 7-foot mark. This guy's about my size, about 5'8", 5'9", maybe 5'10", but he jumps nearly 7 feet. So he's going to go to New Mexico over there in Albuquerque. We wish him best of luck, but I caught up with him on Tuesday, kind of got his thoughts on signing with the Lobos, what he expects to do, being in the Mountain West Conference, and hopefully he plans on competing at the NC2A Nationals at some point. So here's Brent Dionisio.
For this opportunity that they're giving me, haven't visited New Mexico yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a good fit for me. I'm excited because the coaches are excited about me going there, so I'm pretty looking forward to that, and hoping to step up my game when I'm over there. They got into contact with me like during mid-season, but I wanted to keep my options open for a little bit, so I had them on the side for a little bit until other offers came, but I realized that they gave me like the best, you could say like not offer, but scholarship compared to the other schools, so I just took that instead. And the coaches seemed really excited too, so they were emailing me like every other week or so, just saying, oh, I just want to touch base with you. I just want to see if you're still interested. And I was, so I know it's a little late, but better late than never, so that's where I'm going to head.
We have had a couple that went off, and we never did anything for him. I feel so bad about that, but he deserves it. He's worked really hard to do this, and I think he's got the next level. He's ready to go. I think the coach really liked him, and when we talked, he was all pretty excited over it, and they needed a jumper, and we thought that would be a good place for him to go. Kind of far away, but you know what? He's going to do well. He's going to do well. Pretty happy for him. He sat out 1 year, redshirted 1 year, and came back. And that year he sat out. I think that's what really did it. He really worked with the weights and a few drills we were doing. Kept in shape. I'm pretty happy and pretty proud what he did, and he did a great job at the high school level. And coming into college, you got to be a little tougher. I mean, it's a little different than high school. So now the next level is going to be a little tougher for him. But I think he can manage it pretty well, so he should be fine.
Naturally, when I was in like middle school, I noticed that I could jump, but I didn't take it as anything. I was like, okay, I could jump pretty high. So I guess you could say it was natural, but hard work also plays a part with that. Like once I found out like my freshman, sophomore year, I started to get better in my height. So I was like, okay, I think this is something I could do at the next level. So I just kept on working at it. Hard work beats talent all the time. So I just kept on working through the off season every single day. And this is where it got me now, So
this is the busy time of the year for youth baseball. We got Babe Ruth going on and a bunch of Little League tournaments going on. Elliott, you saw the Orchid 14s win on Tuesday. They're going to go to the Central California tournament after winning the District 6 tournament. How did those Orchid All-Stars look?
They look great. They're going to be playing that the Central California tournament in Hanford this year, but they beat Lompoc on Tuesday, and they look really strong. They got a bunch of hitters. This is essentially the same group that won the 13-year-old All-Stars last year. There are 8 of the 12 kids on the team that are back for another year. One of them, Caleb Dulé, played actually for the 14s last year. He played up. And now this year he played in the same group because he didn't want to go up to the 15s. He played with the kids that were his age. So they had 8 of those kids back again. Isaiah Navarro was the starting pitcher. He got in a little bit of trouble, but his defense got him out of it. Then Dulé came in as the relief pitcher and basically shut down the Santa Maria the Lompoc kids, I'm sorry. So. Dulé led off the game with what looked like an inside the park home run, but they called it a double with a 2-base error on the throw, and that got him off to a fast start. They scored 4 runs in the first inning. Lompoc came back and scored a couple runs, but then Orchid came back and scored 3 more late in the game, added another one after that. Lompoc tried to score in the last inning, but came up short and ended up on the short end of an 8-3 score. And I tell you, one of the things you noticed is how well coached Orchid is. They have James Steele as their head coach and Joe Adams as their assistant coach. And last year when the 13s, same two guys, but they flopped, where Joe Adams was the head coach and James Steele was the assistant. James Steele is a former Major League Baseball player. So he played for both San Diego and San Francisco during his Major League career. He ended up with Montreal. But the league president is Brent Smith, another former Major League Baseball player. So these kids, they get great instruction. You could see it all through the game, calling pitches, calling defenses, give them a heads up about that. They saw early that the Lompoc pitcher's first pitch was a fastball, his second pitch was a curveball, and the pattern just continued, and they were talking to their kids, we got to take advantage of it. If it's a first pitch strike, you got to swing at it. I mean, if it's a fastball that's high or down low in the dirt, don't just swing at it because it's a fastball. But if that's down the middle, take advantage of it. And they did. They were looking for that first pitch fastball. They jumped on it, and they used that to power themselves to 8 runs. So Isaiah Navarro was the starting and winning pitcher. Caleb Dulé was the relief pitcher. They had kids like Quigley Espinola coming back from last year that were just great. Connor Adams, the kids just picked it up. And they said they knew they had a target on their back all year because they were the defending 13-year-old champions, and everybody from the 13-year-old group moved up to the 14, so they played the same teams and essentially the same kids again. So congratulations to them. Now, the 14-year-old Central California tournament was scheduled for Arroyo Grande, which we loved because that would make it easier for us to get to the games. But Arroyo Grande apparently didn't have enough fields, and the District 6 commissioner told me right before he gave the kids their championship plaque that Arroyo Grande didn't have the field, so they moved it over to Hanford. So congratulations to them. The other 13 and 15 division winners should be decided shortly. The games aren't over yet, so we'll have those results for you next week on Sports Talk.
Yeah, so sticking with Babe Ruth, Lompoc and Santa Maria Red, we're playing in the 15-year-olds in the championship kind of series. Lompoc was winning 9-1 Wednesday afternoon. Lompoc wins that one. They force the second game, and Santa Maria and Lompoc will play for a winner-take-all kind of thing, and that's in the 15-year-old bracket over at Elks Field. We'll have some coverage in Thursday's paper on that stuff, and then Lorenzo Reyna, who you guys usually see over here with us, he's in San Ynez, and then he has to run over to Lompoc at George Meyer Field and see who wins the 13-year-olds as well. So we'll have all that coverage in Thursday's paper. Kind of moving over to the Little League side of things, over at District 65, it's been a pretty remarkable tournament. It's always pretty fun, but what we saw last Friday was very rare. Richie Robles from Santa Maria West Side threw a perfect game. Now, we obviously know what a perfect game is, not allowing one base runner, and these Little League games are 6 innings, so that's 18 up, 18 down for Richie Robles. What an accomplishment for him, the lefty. Kenny Kress covered that game, so he saw all the action firsthand, but I would like to see how he was so effective and how he was able to do that. And this West Side team has been tremendous. They're playing AG Wednesday night. We'll have some coverage from that game as well in Thursday's paper. We'll see how those two teams fare. They're the undefeated teams. That's a winner's bracket game at District 65. AG Little League versus Santa Maria West Side. That's at Napomo Little League's field over there at Napomo Community Park. So if you want to see some good Little League action, head over there. I think the tournament wraps up July 3rd, July 5th, something like that. So it's still going on for a while, but the big game Wednesday was Santa Maria West Side versus AG winners bracket. We'll see who comes out on top with that. West Side has some terrific pitching. Bo Garcia's been great. I think he threw a no-hitter during the Santa Maria Championship Series. And then Richie Robles, a lefty, throws a perfect game. So a lot of stuff going on over there at the District 65 tournament in Napomo. That's the one where if they keep on winning, they get to go to the Little League World Series, which would be great. I don't think we've had a team go over there. So to see a team, go all the way over there would be great. And West Side, they've been playing great. We'll see if they have enough to keep winning. Moving, from the diamond to a totally different sport is NASCAR. And Elliott, you went down, or I guess up to Sonoma. to see some NASCAR races. You know, the big guys had a fun race, but you also found out we have a little local connection at the K&N Series.
Well, Kevin Harvick swept the weekend races up in Sonoma. They were here, and they had the other series, the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series were somewhere else. But what they did was the K&N Series, and that would be like, I guess you'd call it AAA baseball. It's the top minor league series. It's split into K&N East and K&N West. And Kevin Harvick got his start, his big break in the K&N Series West years ago, and that got him noticed, and it got him up to the NASCAR's big, you know, the Monster Cup as it's now called. But they had the K&N Series, and he raced in that, and he won it, but the guy he beat was a young man named 22-year-old Will Rogers. He lives in Solvang. He's not a native. He's only recently moved there. There's a picture of him. He's sponsored by the Solvang Brewing Company. And he gave Harvick a heck of a chase. He was right with him, neck and neck, right down to the very end. And on turn 11, this is a road course, so it's not an oval or a tri-oval. It's a road course where you got to make right turns as well as left turns. And it came down to turn 11. Now that's the turn last year that Jimmy Johnson bumped his way past the other guy to win the NASCAR. At that time that was a Sprint Cup race, but now it's the Monster Energy Cup race. And in that same corner, Will Rogers was in the same position, and he went inside, and then he tried to go outside. And after the race, I talked to him, and he said, well, when he went inside, he thought about that move last year, and he could have bumped Harvick, pushed him out of the way into the wall, scooted by him on his right side, and raced to the victory. And he said he didn't do it because if he had done that, all it would have been talked about is how Harvick was bumped. His kid bumped him out of the way to get the win. And so he went inside, said, I'm not going to do that. He tried outside, couldn't get by him. He said that the reason he did that was because if he didn't bump Harvick, then the story would be how this kid gave Harvick a heck of a race, chased him down, and just couldn't get quite past him, and he came up looking great. Bigger than he even knew at the time, because after the race was over and after all the interviews were done, Harvick grabbed him and brought him back to his trailer. They talked for a long time, and then Harvick hooked him up with some sponsors. So he benefited greatly from his second place victory, and we should see more of him on the K&N Series, and he may be somebody down the road, like we follow Ron Capps, who was born in San Luis Obispo, raised in Santa Maria, and ended up graduating from SLO High School, and Alan Johnson, who was one of the top fuel people of all time. He's from Santa Maria and Righetti High School, so we follow them. And there are 8 of the top NASCAR drivers have California roots, including Kevin Harvick, who's from Bakersfield. But it'd be great to have a kid who calls Solvang home, moving up against the big boys. And we're seeing a lot of new blood into the NASCAR top series, the Monster Energy Cup series. A lot of young drivers in the last few years have come along and are making a name for themselves. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Juarez is a rookie this year, Eric Jones. So we'd love to see him added to that list. So that's one of the reasons we go to these things, is to see if the local guys do good, and we can tell you all about them, as well as our local high school and colleges and youth sports. They're also in the mix. So it was a great weekend for him, and congratulations on a great finish at the K&N Series race.
Yeah, and I was doing a little bit of research on Will Rogers. Seems like the real deal. So if you're interested in NASCAR, and maybe he's just a kind of a focus on road racing, but road course racing, but he might be a better oval driver. But I think he could really shoot up the ladder there.
They say he's really a road course specialist, but he's getting better on the ovals. And of course, the NASCAR only races 2 road courses on the Big Cup series. Although many of the drivers are pushing for at least 1 more every year. But he's getting experience on the ovals and the tri-ovals, which are slightly, looks like an oval with a bubble, where it goes up, straightens out, and down, so that one side of it is not a complete circle, part of a complete circle. So he's getting more experience, and his quality on the road courses is helping him get more seat time on the ovals.
And you know, we do focus on the competitions a lot and the scores and the stats and all that, but you know, Elliott, you had a chance to kind of get away from that on Monday. Ruth Thornton, 90-year-old, and she's kind of the den mother of the senior softball league at Hagerman. You caught up with her. You know, they don't really care. Well, they might, but you know, they don't keep score too often, or you know, sometimes they just practice. Sometimes they have batting practice. But she's kind of in charge of that senior softball league over there. What was it like catching up with Ruth, and you kind of fill us in on her?
Well, she said they don't really keep score, but the guys that play always know the score. She said that to me. Ruth has played high school softball from 1941 to 1945 at Santa Maria High School. There you see her with a bunch of people that came out to celebrate her 90th birthday. 28 years in running at the Santa Maria Senior Citizen Drop-In Softball Program. It's every Monday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Costs you $1, but the city doesn't get the money. Ruth uses the money to buy pizza or Subway once a month for the players. And what they do is they get together for batting practice, and then if there's enough, they play a game. If not, they just have a good time after batting practice. But she's been there 28 years. The program is 29 years old. And I got a chance to talk to her about how she got involved and why she's still coming back after all these years.
In 1990, I saw an article in the Santa Maria Times about this softball team out here, and so I came out and sat in the bleachers and watched them for a while, and they said, "Aren't you going to play?" And I said, "I'd like to." And so they said, "Come on," and I started playing in 1990.
Perfect. What's that?
I normally played as pitcher, and now I just keep records and keep score, and we have I feed them once a month a pizza or a Subway, so I collect $1 each time they come out to play, and mainly that's all I do is sit around and watch them play and keep score. So the guys call me the den mother, and I've been here for 28 years now. I've been here ever since I started. I keep coming. I carry the equipment, so they wait for me to come here. I get here at 10 o'clock. And we start playing at 11. Well, they have batting practice from 10 to 11. I'm still having fun, so I'm going to keep coming as long as I get up in the morning and get out here.
So Ruth got started after seeing an ad in the Santa Maria Times. She's been back every year, every week, twice a week since, and everybody loves her, the den mother they call her. She's so well respected that the City Recreation and Parks Department Director Alex Posada came out and gave her a special plaque, and both Santa Maria City Mayor and Santa Barbara County 4th District Supervisor Steve Lavanino were on hand to celebrate her, and they had certificates of appreciation from the city and the county. And then the Santa Maria Community Bank of Santa Maria, Jim Glines, John Glines, his son, and Taylor Glines, his granddaughter, were out there with the Community Bank of Santa Maria Portable Barbecue, and Gary Prober, who we know well from the Santa Maria Kiwanis All-Stars basketball games every year. He was the chef, and they had Santa Maria-style tri-tip and chicken, a whole lunch for everybody, and a big giant birthday cake. And I tell you, the folks out there just love her. There was a huge crowd on hand of family and friends. And they had the Band of Brothers out there, which is an interesting group of softball players. They have 4 teams, 3 in Santa Maria and 1 in Lompoc, and they're all veterans. And a bunch of the old senior citizens players are part of the Band of Brothers, and not only do they play softball, but they raise funds to help the other veterans in the area. And they're a great group of guys, and they were on hand to support Ruth because some of their brothers, the 30-something Band of Brothers, are softball players with the 60 and 70 and 80-year-old Band of Brothers. So it was just a great day for everybody, a great celebration. And it's not the only good news going around Santa Maria.
Matt Sauer, probably facing a little bit different competition in the senior softball league, but Matt signed, made it official with the Yankees last weekend on Saturday, signing his contract, making it all official, dotting all the I's and crossing the T's. that he is a New York Yankee. So congratulations to Matt. I was watching the Yankee game on Saturday. I think they were playing the Rangers. Of course, they were losing, but John Flaherty, who's a catcher in the major leagues, is their color man, and he was just started talking about Matt Sauer after the news broke that Sauer had made it official, and he just had some very great words to say about Matt Sauer, and it shows just how excited they are to have this prospect. Everyone keeps saying he's a first-round talent, and I think he is. He has a first-round arm. He had a first-round grade. Obviously, he has a first-round mindset, first-round build. So it did take him in the second round, but they signed him twice the slot value for what he was allotted, around $2.5 million. So that's great news for Matt and his family, who kind of supported him through all this. And the Yankees are really excited about him. John Flaherty was really high on him, talking about his fastball, mid-90 fastball, hard-breaking ball. So the Yankees are excited about him, and it was exciting to see him getting a little bit of shout out during the Yankees game, during the broadcast. And they're excited. They even mentioned Rigetti High School, which is cool to see. So congratulations to Matt, and we hope he tears it up in rookie ball and then has a great future ahead of him. So that was good to see. And he was our All-Area MVP as well. If you saw the Sunday Santa Maria Times, he was on our front page of our sports section, second year in a row that he was our All-Area MVP. So congrats to Matt. We don't have too many of the back-to-back All-Area MVPs. But he joined, Danny Duffy was the All-Area MVP in 2007, so maybe he'll be following in his footsteps a little bit in a couple years. So we'll also have our All-Area softball stuff on Sunday as well, so you can check out who our All-Area MVP is for softball, who made the first team, who made the second team, who's the coach of the year. All that good stuff will be out on Sunday in the Lompoc Record and Santa Maria Times. But that's all we got for 805 Sports Talk this week. Be sure to check out our coverage in the paper throughout the rest of the week, and then we'll see you right here next week for another edition of 805 Sports Talk.